Log 04 examined the distribution of wounds on the scalp, where they were, what that geometry required, what it meant for any theory of how this cloth was made. This log examines the stains themselves, not where they are, what they are made of. The question of the shroud's bloodstains has been under forensic examination for over 40 years. It has generated peer-reviewed research on both sides of the authenticity question. It has produced findings that have not been resolved. A forensic investigator follows the evidence, not the conclusion she prefers. Both sets of findings are in the record. Both belong in this log. In 1978, a team of 33 scientists, chemists, physicists, forensic specialists, optical engineers spent 5 days conducting direct analysis of the shroud under the auspices of the Shroud of Turin research project. It remains the most comprehensive hands-on scientific examination ever conducted on the cloth. 2 members of that team, John Heller and Anna Adler, focused specifically on the reddish stains. They ran a battery of chemical tests on particles removed from the cloth by sticky tape in 1978. Their findings, published in peer-reviewed journals, were specific. The stains tested positive for the sorband, the spectroscopic signature of porphyrin, the iron-containing compound at the center of hemoglobin. They tested positive for biopigments, for albumin in the serum halos around the stains, for protein, for the chemical markers that distinguish blood from paint. The conclusion of Heller and Adler: the reddish stains on the shroud are blood. That finding has been confirmed by multiple independent analyses since 1978. That finding has been confirmed by multiple independent analyses since 1978. A second researcher, Walter McCrone, a microchemist of significant reputation, analyzed samples from the same sticky tapes and reached a different conclusion. He identified submicron particles consistent with red ochre and vermilion pigments used by medieval painters. His position: the stains are artist pigment, not blood. That dispute has never been fully resolved. Both published their findings. Both had credentials. What followed was not consensus. It was 40 years of contested evidence. In 2018, 2 researchers published a bloodstain pattern analysis in the Journal of Forensic Sciences. Matteo Borrini and Luigi-Garlaschelli. Their method used a living volunteer to simulate blood flow from crucifixion wounds and compare the resulting patterns to those on the shroud. Their findings were specific and uncomfortable. The 2 short rivulets on the back of the left hand are consistent with a standing subject with arms at approximately 45 degrees. The forearm stains require a different angle, nearly vertical arms for a standing subject. The hand stains and the forearm stains are not consistent with the same arm position. There is more. The lance wound stain on the chest is consistent with blood flow from a standing body. The corresponding stain on the back, supposedly from the same wound post-mortem with the body supine, is, in their words, totally unrealistic. A body laid flat after death would not produce the back stain visible on the shroud. The geometry is wrong for a corpse. Borrini and Garlaschelli concluded that the bloodstain patterns are inconsistent with a real crucified body and more consistent with an artificial representation. That finding generated immediate response from the shroud research community. Multiple peer-reviewed commentaries were published in the same journal. The counterarguments are specific. The body was moved, transported from Golgotha to the tomb, repositioned during burial preparation. A body that changed position between death and interment would produce exactly the kind of multi-directional staining that Borrini and Garlaschelli identify as inconsistent. A 2024 study by Giulio Fanti of the University of Padua, analyzing particles from the original 1978 sticky tape samples, identified 3 distinct types of blood on the cloth. Pre-mortem blood that coagulated on the skin while the subject was alive. Post-mortem blood deposited after death, consistent with fluid release during movement and burial preparation. and serum halos, the clear liquid component of blood separating from the cellular component over time. 3 different types of blood deposited at different times from a body in different positions. That is not the profile of a single painted image. What the blood chemistry record shows: card 1, the stains test positive for creatinine, consistent with severe torture. Card 2, the red blood cells in the stains show evidence of shrinkage consistent with exposure to high concentrations of urea caused by severe blood loss. Card 3, the stains show fluorescence under ultraviolet light consistent with elevated bilirubin released under conditions of extreme physiological stress. Card 4, fibrin, the protein that forms the structural scaffold of a blood clot, has been detected on fibers from the wrist wound area. Fibrin is not a component of paint. Card 5, the blood was deposited before the body image was formed. The image exists beneath and around the blood, not on top of it. No known medieval technique achieves this. The blood stain record is contested. That is the honest position. The pattern analysis raises real questions about consistency. The chemistry raises real questions about what was applied to this cloth, when, and under what conditions. Neither side of that dispute has produced a finding that closes the case. What the chemistry record does establish: the stains contain compounds that paint does not. The stains were deposited before the image was formed. The stain profile is consistent with a body under extreme physiological stress, not a single painted layer applied to linen. The forgery theory requires a forger who knew exactly what torture chemistry looks like in blood. It is a description of what the forgery theory requires you to believe. Evidence log 06 examines the image itself, not the blood stains, the body image. The image on the shroud exists on the outermost surface of the linen fibrils, a layer measured in millionths of a meter. It encodes 3-dimensional information that photographic negatives do not. Every attempt to reproduce it by known chemical, thermal, or artistic means has either failed entirely or produced something that does not survive close comparison. The question is not what the image looks like. The question is what physical process could have put it there. The evidence log is open. The full record is at searchannakeller.substack.com. The search continues. Pay attention to what does not fit.